Thank you for joining me in this part 4 of my solo playthrough of Nethalas into the Midnight Throne. This is Athena. She is a Gravecaller and Weapon Master at level 1. She has raised 2 skeletons with her, and she has triggered a trap while trying to pass through a door, which spawned 3 Rotwalkers. Now let's have a look at the stats of the Rotwalker. It's an undead. There are 3 of them. Awareness 20, which is pretty low. Health 4, which is decent. It is a humanoid with weak spot at its head. 30 combat skill, which is okay. And traits are it's an undead and frightening. So basically for undead, they are immune to necrotic damage. For frightening, it requires the character to roll for a resolve check at the end of every round. If the check is failed, Athena would have a -1 to her sanity. Let's have a look at the Rotwalkers. A Rotwalker's wretched form is that of a once human creature now consumed by the relentless march of decomposition. Its pallid, leathery skin hangs loosely from its skeletal frame, exposing festering wounds and bones in a gruesome display of mortality's defeat. The Rotwalker's eyes, hollow and devoid of life, glow with an unholy, malevolent light, seeking out the living with a ravenous hunger. This wretched being shambles forward with a haunting gait, its limbs contorted and disjointed, making each step an eerie cadence of suffering. The stench of death and decay precedes its arrival, warning the unfortunate of its relentless pursuit. Its groans and guttural moans echo through the silent night, a mournful dirge that chills the hearts of those who hear it. Sounds like a zombie. This is my active sheet, which I keep track of combats, encounters, scores, and so on. So over here, to make things a little easier, I have created the avatars of the characters in combat. So Athena is over here, she's 13 health. Skeleton 1 and Skeleton 2 both at 10 health each, and the 3 Rotwalkers at 4/4 health. So as we go into combat, the very first thing that we do would be for Athena to start rolling for an opposed check. So I could do 2 things. Number 1, I could do a surprise, meaning to say a stealth check, or I could do an initiative check. So in this case, having 2 skeletons isn't going to help with my score for stealth, so Athena will receive 2 times -10 penalty to her score of 25 for stealth. So in this case, it's going to be very hard to sneak up to the 3 Rotwalkers, even though they may be pretty slow and they may have very low awareness. So I'm going to go for an initiative check instead. So to do an initiative check, I will draw my D10 and D100, and I will roll for Athena. Athena will represent her team, her party, in the initiative check. So she rolls a 73 for Athena, and the Rotwalkers have a 99, which is a double. Rotwalkers. So in this case, Athena rolls a 73, which is way above her perception. Her perception is at 60. And the zombies are rolling a 99, which is above its awareness of 20. So in this case, for both that failed the opposed check, we will look at the highest score as the winner, but in this case it's a 99, so would it mean that the Rotwalkers have scored a critical fumble. Or would it be that the Rotwalkers go first because they had scored 99, which is higher than my 73. In this case, I think the rule for doubles will take precedence. So I will allow Athena and her team of skeletons to go first. So I've read through the rules again in my previous part where I have indicated a table of turns and rounds. As with everything, when there's a mistake made or something that I've learned to correct, I will move it through the game accordingly as it comes and to see how it best fits the flow of the game. So I don't think I should be too hard up about it, but more importantly, aside from getting the mechanics perfect or close to perfect, I think it's important to enjoy the game and to continually build on the narrative of the game, to enjoy the storytelling, to enjoy the experience, and to allow that to be the main thing for running through solo RPGs. Okay, so let's go with round 1. Athena will strike first. She will start to roll her combat skill check, and she rolls a 78, which is within her combat skill check. She will go against Rotwalker 1. So let's roll for Rotwalker 1, and it rolls a 9. So in this case, Athena still rolling within her skill check score, and the higher of the two scores she wins, so she has successfully hit the Rotwalker. So next, let's roll for the hit location. It's a 2, which would be on the Rotwalker's right leg. And next we will determine how much is the damage that Athena has caused. So she rolls a 6 and a 2, that's a total of 8. Let's refer to the damage dealt table. So an 8 would give me a 3 damage to the Rotwalker. 3 damage. As the Rotwalker doesn't have any armor, that will mean that the Rotwalker takes a total of 3 damage to its 4 health. So it has, Rotwalker 1 has 1 health left. What constitutes to a round? It would be 1 turn per character or opponent. And once everybody has taken a round, be it attacking or defending, we will move on to round 2. Okay, since now Athena and the Rotwalker has taken their turns, I will move on accordingly. Next up will be Skeleton 1 and the Rotwalker 2. So let's roll for their combat skill scores. Okay, so Skeleton 1 has a total of 33, which is a good score. And Rotwalker 2 has a score of 78. In this case, Skeleton 1 scores a critical hit. Which is great. It's a good roll so far. And I will roll the hit location for Skeleton. Oh, that's almost a 20. It's an 8. So an 8 would be the abdomen. So Skeleton 1 hits Rotwalker 2's abdomen with a critical hit, which means to say Skeleton 1 will roll 2d6. That's a 1 and a 3, so a total of 4 on the die, which means the total damage dealt would be 1 damage. Rotwalker 2 does not have any armor, so it will take 1 damage, giving it a remaining 3 health. Okay, and we move on to Skeleton 2. Skeleton 2 rolls a 53. Rotwalker 3's turn. It's a 31. And based on the scores, Skeleton 2 has rolled above its skill score. And the same goes for Rotwalker 3. It has rolled a 31, which is 1 point above its 30 max. In this case, both have failed the opposing check. For combat skill, the higher scorer will win. So in this case, I would say that Skeleton 2 successfully hits the Rotwalker. Let's roll for the hit location. And that's a 4, which will be left leg. And for the damage, that would be a 5 on the die, which means that would be a 2 damage dealt. So Rotwalker 3 will have 4 minus 2 equals to 2 health left. Okay, so that sums up my round 1. Every character and opponent has had a turn, be it defending or attacking. And what I need to do right now, and what I need to do is to not forget to resolve the frightening trait that the Rotwalker has. So I'm gonna roll a resolve check with my D100. So I have a resolve of 20, so I have to roll below 20. A score above 20 will mean I lose 1 sanity. Okay, let's go. So I roll a 63. I have lost the check. Minus 1 sanity. Okay, so at this point I will go on here to update my character's health, any conditions, and so on. Athena and the skeletons are all in full health. Athena suffers -1 sanity. And for the Rotwalkers, Rotwalker 1 has 1 health, number 2 has 3 health, and number 3 has 2 health. So as you can see here, it makes things a lot clearer for me after a round, and I can keep track. And with the visual aids that I have here with the avatars, it makes it very clear, and I can input notes, conditions, and so on and so forth just beside the avatars, so hopefully I do not forget or miss anything out. We can go on to round 2. It will be the Rotwalker's turn to attack and Athena and her skeletons to defend. So I'll do a roll for Rotwalker 1, and it rolls a 67, which is a failed combat skill check. Athena rolls a 39, which passes her skill check. So Athena defends successfully. So let's take a look at the defense table. So I'll roll a d10 for Athena's defensive move. A 5, that would be your opponent immediately suffers d4 damage that ignores armor. This is good. So I'll roll a d4. So it's a 2 damage. So Rotwalker 1 Having 1 health minus away 2 equals to -1 health. So the result is Rotwalker 1 dies. Okay, moving on to Rotwalker 2. He rolls a 61, which is above its combat skill. And now let's see Skeleton 1. How did he fare? So he rolls a 31, which is above his skill, combat skill as well. So in this case, both parties rolled above their combat skill, and the higher scorer will win. In this case, it's Rotwalker 2 that scores an attack. So let's determine its hit location. That's a 16. Looks dangerous. That would be the skeleton's right arm, which has no armor. And now I shall resolve the attack, the damage. It's a 4, which brings us to this table here. So a d6, based on a d6, a 3 to a 4. So based on the 4, it falls under Festering Aura. The Rotwalker emits a foul aura of decay around itself. Creatures within the aura must succeed on an endurance check or take d6 necrotic damage at the start of each of their turns. The aura lasts for 2 rounds or until the Rotwalker is destroyed. This seems like bad news. So I am supposed to do a endurance check for Athena and her skeletons. My skeletons are actually immune to necrotic damage. In fact, necrotic damage restores my skeleton's health. So that would mean that this is ineffective against my skeletons. But for Athena, we will have to resolve this endurance check. Okay, so assuming Athena is in the area, she will have to roll her endurance check. Let me see. Let's see how much endurance she has. So she has an endurance of 20, which is very low. So let's see whether she can succeed this check. Okay, I don't think she has anything that she can mitigate this Festering Aura damage. So I will have to roll her an endurance check. It's a 54, so that's a fail. So she will suffer d6 necrotic damage at the start of her turn. That's unfortunate. So the skeletons are unaffected, that's fine. And we will move on to Rotwalker 3 and Skeleton 2. So Rotwalker 3 rolls a 34. So it's Skeleton's turn. Skeleton 2 rolls a 52. Both rolled above their combat skill check. So in this case, Skeleton 2 wins the confrontation. And we roll a d10. A 5 would mean your opponent immediately suffers d4 damage that ignores armor. Damage is always good. A 4, wonderful. So let's resolve Rotwalker 3's health. It has currently 2 health left. So 2 health minus the 4 slashing damage. It is down to -2 health. And the result is Rotwalker 2 dies. Wonderful, so this is down. Put it this way. And we are done with round 2. The last we need to do is the frightening resolve the last we need to do is to resolve the frightening trait for Athena. She rolls a 46, which is above her resolve score. Alright, and now we are on to round 3. So we go with Athena first. So she has to resolve the necrotic damage at the start of every round. So at the start of her turn. So let's roll it. 6. And let's look at... D6 necrotic damage. So in this case, she takes in 2 damage from necrotic damage from the festering aura. So now down to combat proper. Let's roll for Athena. Athena attacks Skeleton 2. She rolls a 31, which is a good roll. And now for Rotwalker 3. So we are down to 1 Rotwalker. The Rotwalker has 2 health left. Okay, and he rolls a 22. Amazing. It's a good score. Rotwalker 3, he rolled a double, which means it is a critical. Rolling doubles, critical automatically wins the confrontation. Let me see if there's a rule that states that. A critical strike automatically wins the confrontation. A critical fumble automatically loses the confrontation regardless of the opponent's roll. So in this case, Athena did not succeed, but the Rotwalker succeeds. So in this case, the Rotwalker 3 that rolled a 22, which is a critical success, that will automatically win. So a 2, reduce your opponent's armor by 1 in 1 random location until the end of combat. So in this case, okay, so Athena from 2 protection from her embraces is down to 1 until the end of combat. And the turn is over for Rotwalker 3 and Athena. So moving on to Skeleton 2. And we get an 11, which is a critical. Skeleton 2 has rolled a critical, a double of 11, where Rotwalker 3 rolls a 1. So in this case, Skeleton 2 has scored a critical success, so it automatically wins the confrontation. So we will roll for the hit location. Holy moly. Let's roll 6 and a 4. That's a total of 10, which will be converted to, which is converted to 4 damage. That easily takes out the last of the Rotwalker. So Rotwalker 3 has 2 health, minus away 4, it is down to -2, so Rotwalker 3 has died. For round 3, the last thing that I need to do would be to roll for the resolve check due to the frightening effect. So let's roll for Athena. Hope she doesn't lose another sanity. She rolls a 7, which is fantastic. So a resolve check, success. There's no more further deduction to Athena's sanity. So let's conclude over here based on the summary. Basically, the 3 Rotwalkers were killed within 3 rounds, and Athena has suffered -2 sanity in all, and she has taken a d6 necrotic damage for 2 rounds, which is fortunately stopped at round 3. Okay, I'm gonna roll a d6 to see which category of spoils do I end up with. Hopefully we can have a precious item. A 3. That's tough. So roll on the mundane items table. So it's a mundane item. Way to go. Should I roll for all 3 bodies or just roll for 1? I believe I should be rolling for just 1. Okay, let's go with the 100. I have a 24. A 24 would be a bedroll. A bedroll. What is a bedroll? I think this should be something that can allow me to recover my exhaustion or something like that. Let me have a look at that bedroll. Right, so bedroll costs 200 coins. It's heavy. And it grants +1 to the camp check. This is great. This is great. I'm gonna put it down. So it states here, your character can also carry other gear and items with them. In order to keep track of what they carry, your character has 10 item slots. Right, so these slots are only for items that you're carrying. Any item equipped in one of your body slots does not count towards the total of the item slots you have available. Non-encumbering items include anything that fit into your palm, empty bags, items with no listed weight such as paper, trinkets, as well as worn clothing and jewelry. Heavy items take up 2 slots, normal items take up 1 slot, and light items can be bundled to 10 items in 1 slot. This is fantastic. This is great, this is so useful. So now the spoils check is done. What's remaining would be the scavenging check. Now let's look around the room for additional items. Right, so let's roll on the d20. We have a 9. So you find d4 crafting supplies. Let's roll the d4. I have 2 crafting supplies found from the scavenge. Okay, I'm gonna put it here. +2 supplies. I'm gonna put it on my character sheet. So I have a total of 21 crafting supplies right now. Okay, and what else do we update? So after the last encounter with 3 Rotwalkers, she has gained a total of another 150 XP plus 10 XP from the door breaking. So that's 160 in addition to her 260 XP. That would mean that she has a total of 420 XP. And she recovers a 4 toughness. So we are back to 19 toughness. So she has a total of 15 light sources left. What would be left would be for her to attempt to break the door down in order to pass through this current door and into the other room. So she will have to go with an athletic check. She rolls a 38. In this case, does she make it? She has a total of 40 athletics, so she successfully breaks the door down. Okay, so that's success. And also she needs to roll for tension. So tension, we are at D8 at the moment. We will roll and hopefully she passes. It's a 7, so she has passed the tension die check. We will not reduce the die size. Tension will be a pass. Okay, so she has successfully broken through the door. She has resolved the enemy encounters in this room. I've updated her character sheet with her experience points. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.